Brenden Aaronson, who completes a season-long loan move to Union Berlin in the Bundesliga.
Hey, you see that Paramount Plus on the shirt? You see that Paramount Plus right under the crest?
Nice.
Sick.
Yeah, dude.
Way, dude.
Vibing.
Getting after it. You love to see it. So I love this quote from Brenden Aaronson. He said, a year ago, I wouldn't have believed that I'm here and can play in the Champions League with Union. I look forward to the year ahead with joy and confidence, and I want to help ensure that we have another successful season. There's a lot of wheeze going on there. And the Leeds fans have jumped on this quote and are hating on Brenden Aaronson because
obviously.
a year ago he was with them and he was excited to play in the Premier League, and now they got relegated and he's jumping ship to not help them get back up. And now saying things like, "Oh, I couldn't have believed that I'd be playing in the Champions League with a Bundesliga club," and almost just rewriting history about what just happened in this past year. But let's leave that aside. I understand where the Leeds fans' bitterness is coming from, because I would be upset about that too. And you want to see the players that, it had to, if you want to see the players have some accountability for the failure, right? You want to see them fight through it and have success and get them back up to where they believe they belong. And obviously having Leeds in the Premier League always just feels better. But Brendan's jumping ship, going to the Bundesliga, playing in the Champions League. I think from a individual player perspective, it's pretty awesome for Brenden. But I wonder how he's going to be utilized. I'm a big fan of their manager, Urs Fischer. I think obviously getting a club of that size into the Champions League is a huge accomplishment. But we've seen, even we'll use Eintracht Frankfurt of recent years, it's hard to balance the European success with trying to obviously maintain consistency in your league form as well. Eintracht have struggled with that over a couple of years, even though they've had success in the Europa League and so on. This is what are we feeling about this particular move? Charlie, I'll come to you first.
Well, he can always ask his brother how to deal with the Europe and Bundesliga balance.
That's true.
That's true. Paxton, the younger brother, who I think is going to get some playing time this year. So it'll be interesting to see how the Aaronson is doing the Bundesliga. But in this 3-5-2 system that Union Berlin play in, I think it's going to really help Brenden Aaronson. There's going to be more space for him to play, where he's got to improve anyways, is playing in tight spaces in midfield, being knocked around physically. How does he cope with that? How does he impact the game if there is no space to run into? Touches on the ball. Can he play those 1-2s and generate opportunities for his teammates? We know he's unselfish and he's got quality, and counter pressing is arguably he's one of the best midfielders the U.S. have in terms of pressing. But that's one style of play, and that's the gegenpress and the RB Leipzig philosophy, the Red Bull philosophy. I want that out the window. Because that style is getting old. Sure, you can take some concepts from it, but you have to evolve from that. In terms of getting on the ball and dictating the tempo, switching the point of attack, running at players 1v1, playing 1-2s, that's where Brenden Aaronson can improve. And I think in this system and with this team, finding Pifok, playing 1-2s off of Pifok and Geraldo Becker, I'm hyped to see what Brenden Aaronson can do in the Bundesliga with this team. It's a great opportunity for him.
Yeah, Heath, I mean, there's something to be said with regard to the amount of success that he's had kind of playing the one style that Charlie's talking about. Can he find that next layer, to add that nuance to his game where he, as obviously we want this, and you want this for every player if you're developing anybody, but to be unstoppable, right? Okay, if they take away your plan A, you've got a plan B that can also give you success in different ways. How does he develop that here when it's tough though as a player, like, I've been so good at this. This is what's got me the success, to get away from that. But we know that he's got to add that nuance. So what do you say?
But when I go back to the type of person he is, character type, right? I'm not talking about like, cares about the team. I'm talking about the fact that he is an actual student of the game, right? He's going to go there. He wants to learn. He wants to be, he thrived in a very structured tactical environment previously. Nothing about Leeds was tactical and whatever. It was survival from the very beginning and just chaos, right? Week in and week out. He struggled there. Confidence fell apart. I think this is a new opportunity for him to be in an environment, especially in Germany, where it's very much about tactics. It's about the team mentality. It's about finding a way to contribute. It's about being put into your box, your parameters, and then thriving within those parameters. I think those are all things that, again, you go back to Ernst Tanner, who's very, very German, and the style of which, helped Brenden Aaronson along the way. I think about that as as a really good opportunity for him. He's going to have to still go out and prove himself and make the most when he gets goal scoring opportunities, when he gets an opportunity to put in a final ball, those types of details that he'll ultimately be judged upon. But I think in terms of him building his confidence, it's the right type of environment for him at his age and the type of person that he is. I like the idea. Still got to prove it, though.
Okay, so we're 44 minutes into the show. I'm going to have my first flex of the day. And I had an opportunity to play against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu in 2005. And it was a friendly. Listen, Chuck, relax.
Hey, no one cares, Jimmy. Hey, no one cares, Jimmy.
You should.
Hey, no one cares.
Because listen, it matters to what I'm going to say. This context is important. But
Jimmy
what I learned in that, not
biceps just bust through his sweatshirt right now. You know what I mean?
Listen. What I learned in those 90 minutes and what I took back from that was that those guys, Zidane, Ronaldo, Raul, Beckham, Roberto Carlos, look, they were so efficient in their movements. They didn't waste energy. They didn't make runs just to make runs. And I think Brenden Aaronson wastes a lot of energy when he plays. And I think that is what I want to see from him grow as a player, is picking his spots and to when to be an absolute maniac and chase things down, and when to be like, hey, that's not now. That moment isn't now. I would only be going by myself. It wouldn't be tethered with the rest of my team to try to close this down. And so or to try to take 5 guys on at once or whatever it may be. So that is what I want to see him get better at and to evolve and mature. Does he show it at times? Of course he does. But I want to see that more consistently from him. So that would be the one thing. Now, Heath, I know you got to go, so I'm going to throw it to you as our resident left back. Let's talk Jedi Robinson.
Where is he got to go?
He's got to leave in a few minutes.
Well, Chuck, I can't control your internet connections. All right, I'll stay 7 more. I'll stay 7 more, Jimmy. I'll stay 7 more minutes, so you don't have to come to me too. But 7 more.
Okay, well, anyway, you're the resident left back, and Jedi Robinson signed a 5-year extension with Fulham. Now, he had been thrown out there as potentially going to Manchester City amongst other clubs. Do you like him staying at Fulham? He come out and said to the fans who have stuck by me, which I think is an interesting part of the first sentence, to the fans who stuck by me, supported me ever since I've been at this club. It's been one hell of a ride. Some ups, some downs, especially off the back of last season. I just want to thank you for your massive support. I'm going to repay that support with a lot of hard work to improve myself and continue to grow as a team. It's hard not to read in between the lines there, but there's a couple insinuations that like maybe they thought he just wanted to leave and go to Man City and now he's got to win back the fans a little bit. I don't know, but
no, I was talking to Steve Cherundolo the other day, and he said, because they moved that Mahalo Poku to Montreal, and he said, ultimately, a player value is dictated only by offers, right? We can sit and talk about 40 million, he's 50, he's 60. But if that offer isn't there and the opportunity doesn't come, I think he's in a great situation right now. He's 25 years old. He's still got some upside to be able to then have a peak or top of his career move to somewhere else if that's what he wants on a personal level. But he's in a great spot there, and he's considered one of their key contributors, and also knows that he's a player that had some really good games and some average games and a few bad games, right? But he's relied upon and trusted, and that's tough to find in any club, especially as a left back. As we know, everybody's looking for their next left back. Everybody's looking for somebody to replace them because no one's ever satisfied with their left fullback or even the right fullbacks at time. And so I think, one, the market probably dictated the opportunities, but two, he's in a really great place, probably personally, professionally. And so why not sign a new deal? And if the right offer comes into the future, then you'll get that, and maybe part of that new deal was them trying to raise the ceiling of what somebody would have to offer for him to get out. So he gets peace of mind of saying, probably not going to leave for a while because I'm too expensive. And yeah, overall, I think we sort of undervalue sometimes a re-signing of a player at a club of that value because of the hype that's being connected to with a Man City or otherwise. That I think it's a good one for him.
Yeah, what's interesting, Chuck, is the trust part that Heath brought up, because he clearly is trusted by Marco Silva, who I really regard as a manager. I like him. I think he's got a plan of how he wants Fulham to continue to grow, and I thought they were super competitive last year when not many people expected it. So I'm okay with that. I think he'll continue to grow as a player at Fulham. But and if you go to City, obviously being coached by Pep Guardiola would have been next level, but you still would have to have earned his trust. And as we've seen, even with Joao Cancelo, that trust is can be thrown away very quickly with Pep Guardiola. And obviously there's a bigger story there that we can get into later, or you guys can discuss it on Morning Footy. But with regard to Jedi, are you happy with this, or do you feel like he's settled in some ways when there might have been opportunities to go to a bigger club?
You got to think what's best for him, what's best for his family. He's in the English Premier League. At the end of the day, he's going to be your starting left back for a Premier League team. You're okay. And if Manchester City really want him, or AC Milan, or any of these big clubs that have come in for him in the past, then they're going to pay for him. So any player in that situation, or most players in that situation, are going to re-up, make more money, have that guarantee, which is 5 years, and then maybe you have a sell-on, a buyout clause. Maybe there's a number that benefits both the club and you settled on that, and you're happy, because if a club is paying X amount for you, that means you're coming in as a number one. There's no question that, if you went to Manchester City, you don't know if you're playing. Look at what Jack Grealish had to go through, or Riyad Mahrez. Riyad Mahrez was one of the players of the season when Leicester won the Premier League. And
look at Zinchenko. Zinchenko's a good example of just leaving because he knew he was going to get his games at Arsenal.
So there's part of you that's pushing to become the best version of yourself, and that means playing for arguably the best coach, where you're competing every single day. And you may not start from week to week. Maybe you start once a month, once every 3 months, whatever it is, versus I know I'm playing every week and I'm playing in the best league in the world. I'm happy. My family's happy. I'm in London. I'm not moving. There's no reason for me to move. And consistency is everything. And your health and your happiness kind of come in front of like ambition at this point, just because he's already playing a World Cup. He's continuing to thrive under a new manager at Fulham. I like this. I like this a lot.